Wizard kind are hated, burned, and killed by humans from their land. They are forced into hiding as their numbers dwindle on the edge of extinction. Until one day, an old man meets a human that sees things different than the rest. "Ahoy!" a voice shouted. Startled, the old man looked around frantically, not minding the hot tea he spilled on his arm as he jumped. "Up here!" The voice sounded clearer and more direct. The old man looked to his right and up. There was a boy standing on a thick tree branch. From a quick inspection, surely, the boy was no older than his mid-teens, with skin like bronze that made his big smile all the whiter. "I bet you didn't hear me coming, did ya?" the boy asked proudly. The old man was sitting in a half-lotus position, with his back up against one of the larger oak trees that were around him, and to his sides were a couple glumberry bushes. "You are as stealthy as a street cat in a city," the old man replied. The boy smiled again, then lowered himself from branch to branch without hesitation, gripping the arms with ease as he finally jumped off the lowest branch and onto the ground in front of the seated gentleman. "And just as quick," the boy said, brushing his hands to get rid of the tree resin and bark. "Although I've never been to a city before." As quick as the boy said it, the old man wound up and blurted, "Good! I don't recommend going to one." The boy's face changed, and the old man noticed. "Cities have not been kind to me, I'm afraid, young lad." "Cities have not been nice to my family either, sir," the boy said, looking downwards and his smile gone. "I've spent most of my life at sea," said the boy. No wonder, thought the old man. They say the sea riders have the best balance out of anyone in the world. The constant swaying of ships creates an equilibrium in their core to which the sea riders have an unchallenged balance compared to those who have not stepped foot on a ship. And not to mention their ability to maneuver their way in even the direst of waves. "The sea riders have an impressive reputation," the old man said, stroking his white beard that's clung together at the bottom with a crimson tie with a gold emblem on it. "A reputation that they move like water itself." The old man rose from his seat and stood in front of the boy, then bowed. "I'm a rock. It is a pleasure to meet you, young sea rider." The boy returns the gesture and bows back to a rock. "My name's Kaiva. It's a pleasure to meet you too, sir." A rock offers Kaiva a seat and to join him to share some tea, to which the boy accepts. The tea leaves were picked from the glumberry bush that seems to be everywhere within this forest. The bright yellow berries that are flecked with black burst into flavorsome juices that is hard to stop eating, but the downside is if you eat too much, the poison starts to play, turning parts of your limbs a horrible yellow color, while your stomach pierces with a sharp and sickly pain, as though a dagger is stabbing you from the inside. The leaves themselves, however, still hold that taste of the berries and can be used to make such a delicious brew that is one of the most famous and widespread teas of this region. "I've not shared tea with a stranger in some time," a rock says joyfully. "What brings you this far deep into the woods? The sea is about an hour's trek from here, east. Yet it is very unusual for a boy of the sea to be so far inward from shore, and in a forest no less." "How did you make your fire?" Kaiva asked curiously, ignoring the question that was given to him. "And don't tell me that you rubbed some sticks together. I'll bet 100 gold seahorses that you don't have a fire catcher in your bag either." Iraq knew that the sea riders liked to bet and were very abrupt, and their ways of doing things have caught on to this boy like none other. How could I have been so absent-minded? Iraq thought. What should I tell him? "You learn a few things when you get to my age, young lad. There are many ways to light a fire, ways that you've never dreamt of." Iraq smiled while staring at the boy, hoping the boy is naive enough to continue. "I didn't expect that," said Kaiva as he follows up on a sip of tea. "I've been following you, you know. And I most definitely saw you light this fire with bare hands. You're a wizard." The silence that followed as they exchanged glances with one another made them both realize how quiet and alone they are in this forest. You've caught me, young sea rider, Iraq laughed, hands in the air and chin tucked down. Now tell me, what is it you plan to do now? Iraq sips his tea. The boy could very well be alone here, and if that's the case, the old man will be in no danger. But he was a sea rider, and no sea rider travels alone on land, so surely there would be others akin nearby. Perhaps they were already watching him from afar, preparing for an attack when the moment was right. But something seemed wrong. Why would a human come face to face with a wizard? Alone? Kaiva took a deep breath in and exhaled. It seemed even the boy was tensed up at the matter. Iraq, I'm a friend. I'm sure you heard about the raid a couple weeks ago. The one that attacked a town that housed wizards. Were you one of them? The boy's face seemed sullen, like he could understand the pain behind what he just said. Yes, I am one of them, Iraq said bitterly. It had been a few weeks since then. The wizards were housed in a small remote town, where they thought they were safe from the outside wars. The war between humans and wizards has been endless. The wizards are only but a fraction of what they once were, being driven to eradication by the bountiful and cruel kingdoms surround. Ever since the attack of the town, Iraq had been traveling long and far in hopes to exile himself and finally be free of the constant warshed. The wizards have no other choice. And if it came to it, Iraq would take no pleasure in killing this boy if things escalated. Kaiva finishes the last of his tea and rises. I'm sorry for what has happened, sir. He places a clenched hand on his heart. It pains me deeply knowing what has happened to your people. I want you to know that I'm going to do everything possible to end this madness and hatred that has plagued our world for long enough. Iraq saw the anger, the sadness billowing in Kaiva's eyes. I'm moved by your words, Kaiva. Iraq becomes sullen. But what can a boy do against the kingdoms that have destroyed my homeland and the people in it? Iraq took a deep breath in and release. There is no hope left. None. Sorry, boy. My people are gone. A single tear starts to sprout from his eye, then slides down his face. Iraq, Kaiva said notably, I'm captain of a large fleet of sea riders, one of the largest in the world, left by my father. We've been tracking down wizards from all over to join us in our cause. That's why I'm here in this forest. And may I now ask of you something, Iraq? Iraq raised his head with tear-filled eyes and looked into the young boy's bronze face with a smile that's glistening with determination. Will you join us and help stop further bloodshed of your people? Kaiva extends an open hand towards Iraq. Will you join my crew? Iraq saw a destiny flash through his mind as he looked upon the fire in Kaiva's eyes. He saw visions of prosperity and hope. Now it was obvious. There was no other answer than this. Iraq joins the boy's hand and is lifted to his feet, bones cracking and all. My bones are old and my mind is weary. I will join you, young sea rider. My captain. Nonsense! Wizards are the most brilliant people in this world. It's a pleasure to have you. Stay tuned and don't miss new videos. Hit that subscribe button.